Right now, a massive storm system is barreling toward more than 70 million Americans. And if you live anywhere east of the Rockies, what happens in the next 48 hours could directly affect your home, your family, and your safety. This is not a drill. This is not an exaggeration. 3 separate rounds of severe weather are stacking up back to back to back, and the first one is already underway. Strong tornadoes, winds exceeding 75 miles per hour, and hailstones the size of tennis balls are all on the table today, tonight, and into the weekend. But here is the part that nobody is talking about yet, and I mean nobody. After all of this severe weather passes, there are signs that winter is about to make a shocking comeback in the second half of March. Snow, freezing rain, temperatures crashing 20 to 30 degrees below where they are right now. And there is one state where tornadoes could be touching down in one half while the other half gets buried in snow all at the same time. I will tell you which state that is in just a few minutes. I'm going to break all of this down for you city by city, state by state, hour by hour for more than 270 locations across America. If you stay with me through the next few minutes, by the 5-minute mark, I will give you the exact timing for when these storms hit your area, when they peak, and when they finally move out. And at the halfway point of this video, I am going to reveal something about next week's forecast that genuinely shocked me when I first saw the data. That is a promise on all of it, so do not go anywhere. Let me start with the number that should get your attention immediately. 70 million. That is how many people are under some level of severe weather threat right now as I am speaking to you. And this is not some broad, vague, general risk that covers half the map and means nothing. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a Level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk, and that enhanced risk zone stretches from southern Iowa all the way down through the Red River Valley of North Texas. Let me list the cities in this enhanced risk zone so you know exactly who is in the bullseye. Kansas City, Missouri; Topeka, Kansas; St. Joseph, Missouri; Springfield, Missouri; Joplin, Missouri; Branson, Missouri; Fort Smith, Arkansas; Fayetteville, Arkansas; Rogers, Arkansas; Paris, Texas, and every town and community in between. But that is just the enhanced risk zone. The slight risk, Level 2 out of 5, fans out even wider and includes even more major cities: Milwaukee, Wisconsin; Chicago, Illinois; Dallas, Texas; Fort Worth, Texas; Springfield, Illinois; Peoria, Illinois; Champaign, Illinois; Rockford, Illinois; Madison, Wisconsin; San Angelo, Texas; Abilene, Texas. And then the marginal risk, Level 1 out of 5, reaches all the way to Detroit, Michigan; Fort Wayne, Indiana; Central Texas from Waco down toward Austin; Northwest Louisiana, Southern Minnesota. We are covering an enormous piece of the country here, and every person in these areas needs to be paying attention today. Now here is where it gets serious, and I need you to pay close attention because this next piece of information could genuinely save your life or the life of someone you love. The Storm Prediction Center has drawn a hatched area on today's tornado outlook. If you are not familiar with what that means, let me explain it clearly. That hatched area means they believe EF2 or stronger tornadoes are possible within this zone. To put that in perspective, an EF2 tornado has winds between 111 and 135 miles per hour. That is strong enough to rip the roof off a well-built home, strong enough to snap large trees like matchsticks, strong enough to turn a car into a projectile, and they are saying tornadoes of that intensity or even stronger could happen today and tonight. That hatched zone runs from the Chicago and Milwaukee metro areas all the way south through Des Moines, Iowa, through nearly all of Missouri, into Little Rock, Arkansas, and down to the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. If you live anywhere in that zone, you absolutely must have a plan tonight. You need to know where your safe room is. You need to have multiple ways to receive weather warnings, not just your phone, but a weather radio with a battery backup. And you need to take this seriously even after the sun goes down, especially after the sun goes down, because the data is showing us that the tornado threat may actually peak after sunset. I will explain exactly why that is the case in just a moment, and it has everything to do with what happened last night in Oklahoma. Speaking of Oklahoma, let me tell you about something that happened just last night that proves exactly why you cannot let your guard down with these systems. It is a story that should shake every single person watching this into taking tonight seriously. Yesterday, the severe weather outlook was not particularly alarming. The risk levels were lower than today. Most short-range computer models were showing that storms would fizzle out and nothing significant would develop. Storm chasers were wrapping up for the day. People were going to bed thinking the threat had passed. But after the sun went down in Oklahoma, when visibility dropped to near zero and most people had stopped paying attention, a large wedge tornado developed. A wedge tornado, for those who do not know, is a tornado that is as wide or wider than it is tall. They are among the most destructive tornadoes on the planet. This one formed in the darkness when most people were asleep or settling in for the night. That tornado killed a mother and her daughter. 2 lives gone in an instant from a storm that the models said probably would not produce much of anything. The storm chasers were not even on it because nobody expected it. A local news crew happened to be tracking it, but by and large, this tornado caught an entire community off guard. That is why I'm telling you right now, do not assume you are safe just because the sun went down. Tonight could be even more dangerous than the daytime hours. And here is the scientific reason why. The low-level jet, which is a river of fast-moving air about a mile above the surface, is forecast to ramp up dramatically after sunset. During the daytime, mixing in the atmosphere keeps this jet somewhat disorganized. But after the sun sets and the boundary layer stabilizes, that low-level jet tightens up and accelerates. We are talking about winds at that level increasing to 60 to 70 knots, that is roughly 70 to 80 miles per hour, across Iowa, Missouri, eastern Kansas, and eastern Oklahoma. When that low-level jet cranks up, it creates enormous wind shear near the surface. That wind shear feeds energy directly into storms, making them more capable of producing tornadoes, especially strong tornadoes that form in the dark when you cannot see them coming. This is not theoretical. This is exactly what happened last night in Oklahoma, and tonight's setup has even more energy to work with. Now, I promised you exact timing for when these storms hit your area. If you skipped ahead to find this, welcome. This is the section you have been waiting for. I am going to take you through this state by state and city by city, and if I do not mention your specific city, I need you to do something for me right now. Drop a comment below telling me where you live, and I will personally make sure you get a forecast. I read every single comment on these videos. So comment your city right now so I can make sure you are covered. Do not assume somebody else from your town will ask. Be the one who asks. Let us start with Texas. For areas of Northeast Texas, including Paris, Texas, and the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, here is your timeline hour by hour. This morning through early afternoon, you are dealing with scattered showers and some rumbles of thunder. Nothing severe yet. The atmosphere is still stabilizing from overnight activity. But between 2 and 3 in the afternoon Central Time, everything changes. Watch the dry line. If you have never heard that term before, the dry line is the boundary between moist Gulf air pushing in from the south and drier air from the west. It acts like a trigger. When moisture collides with that dry air, storms can explode with very little warning. If storms fire along this dry line near Dallas, they could become supercells. Supercells are the most organized and dangerous type of thunderstorm. They rotate, they persist for hours, and they are the storms most likely to produce tornadoes and very large hail. By 4 to 5 in the afternoon, any storms that have developed in northeast Texas should be maturing and intensifying. This is when hail could reach 2 inches in diameter or larger. Let me put that in real terms for you. 2-inch hail is the size of a pool ball or a hen egg. That size hail will shatter car windshields. It will dent the hood and roof of your vehicle. It will destroy a garden. It will crack siding on your home. If you are in Northeast Texas, get your vehicles under cover by mid-afternoon if at all possible. Between 6 and 8 in the evening Central Time, the tornado threat increases significantly for Northeast Texas. If discrete supercells are able to maintain themselves along the dry line and not get undercut by outflow from other storms, this is the window when strong tornadoes become most likely. The 10% tornado probability zone covers this area, and the hatched significant tornado zone extends into it as well. After 9 in the evening, the storm mode shifts. Individual supercells will likely merge into a line of thunderstorms as the cold front catches up. The tornado threat decreases somewhat with this transition, but damaging winds become the primary concern. Straight-line gusts could exceed 65 to 70 miles per hour. These are the kinds of winds that bring down trees, snap power poles, and peel roofing material off houses. By midnight, the main severe threat across northeast Texas should be winding down. However, and this is important, do not let your guard down completely. A cluster of strong storms is forecast to develop in central Texas near Abilene and push northeastward toward the Red River and the Dallas-Fort Worth area by 4 to 5 in the morning Saturday. So Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Plano, Frisco, McKinney, Denton, you could get hit twice. Once this evening and again before sunrise Saturday morning. For San Angelo and central Texas, you have a slight risk, level 2 out of 5. Storm coverage will not be as widespread down here, but if anything does develop this afternoon, it could be quite strong. A few isolated severe storms are possible between 4 and 8 in the evening. After midnight, a couple more storms develop near Abilene, and these could be disruptive. Large hail and gusty winds are your main threats. Keep your weather alerts active. For Waco, Temple, and Killeen in central Texas, you are in the marginal risk zone. A few storms could clip your area this evening, mainly between 5 and 9. The threat is lower but not zero. Stay aware. For San Antonio and Austin, you are on the southern periphery of this event. A few storms are possible this afternoon and evening, but coverage will be very limited. I am not expecting a major severe event for either of you, but an isolated strong storm is not out of the question. Now let us move north to Oklahoma, and after what happened last night, I want everyone in Oklahoma to take tonight extremely seriously. Eastern Oklahoma, you are the primary danger zone today. Storms will begin trying to fire between 3 and 4 in the afternoon Central Time near McAllister, Muskogee, and Tulsa. Initially, these storms will be scattered and may not look terribly impressive on radar. A few small cells popping up here and there. But do not be fooled by a quiet start. Between 5 and 7 in the evening, conditions rapidly improve for severe storms as the southerly flow increases and the low-level jet begins ramping up. Supercells in eastern Oklahoma could produce tornadoes, very large hail exceeding 2 inches, and damaging winds during this window. The Storm Prediction Center has the 10% tornado risk zone right over this area. Between 8 and 10 in the evening, the tornado threat reaches its peak for eastern Oklahoma. This is the window I am most concerned about. The low-level jet will be screaming at 50 to 60 knots at 850 millibars, roughly 1 mile above the surface. Wind shear values will be exceptional. If there are any discrete supercells still operating in this environment, they will have every ingredient they need to produce strong, potentially long-track tornadoes. And it will be dark. Remember what happened last night. A wedge tornado after dark in Oklahoma killing 2 people. The setup tonight is arguably even more volatile. Oklahoma City, Norman, Edmond, Moore, you are not in the primary tornado zone for the daytime hours, but between midnight and 2 in the morning, a stronger line of storms is forecast to develop right on top of your metro area. Stillwater and Tulsa are also in this midnight line. It will sweep eastward through the state with damaging winds as the primary threat, gusts potentially hitting 70 miles per hour or higher. Some embedded spin-up tornadoes within the line are possible. Lawton, you are further west and somewhat out of the main severe zone, but keep an eye on any storms that develop along the dry line to your east. Enid, Ponca City, Bartlesville, you are on the northern fringe of the action. Storms may reach you by 9 to 10 in the evening. By 3 to 4 in the morning Saturday, the main storms should be clearing eastern Oklahoma and pushing into Arkansas. After that, your threat is over for this round. Kansas, you are up next, and I genuinely believe this could be one of the most visually dramatic severe weather setups of the entire day. Around 3 to 4 in the afternoon Central Time, explosive storm development is expected in central Kansas near Hays and Russell. The models are showing storms erupting with incredible speed. When these storms fire, the radar presentations are going to look like something out of peak tornado season in May or June, not the first week of March. That alone should tell you how anomalous and how dangerous this pattern is. By 5 in the afternoon, computer models are painting a semi-discrete supercell in central Kansas with a strong rotating updraft. On the high-resolution model, you can actually see the hook echo signature forming on the simulated radar. This is the kind of storm structure that produces tornadoes and giant hail. If you are anywhere near central Kansas this afternoon, Hays, Great Bend, Salina, you need to be paying extremely close attention and ready to take shelter at a moment's notice. Between 6 and 8 in the evening, these storms track generally southeast into southeastern Kansas near Chanute, Independence, Coffeyville, and then push into southeastern Nebraska. Any discrete cells that manage to stay separate from the pack are capable of producing all severe hazards, including strong, potentially EF2 or higher tornadoes. Dodge City, Garden City, Liberal, you are further west and the severe risk is lower but not zero. Keep your radios on. Topeka, Lawrence, and Manhattan, you are in the slight risk zone. Storms could affect your areas between 5 and 8 in the evening. Hail and wind are your primary concerns with a lower-end tornado threat. Wichita and the surrounding south-central Kansas communities, El Dorado, Newton, Hutchinson, you are also in the slight risk area. Storms passing through your region between 4 and 7 this evening could produce hail up to 2 inches in diameter and damaging wind gusts. Emporia, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, Parsons, you sit right in the transition zone between the enhanced and slight risk areas. The timing for your severe threat is roughly 5 to 9 in the evening. Stay sharp. By 9 to 11 at night, storms consolidate into a powerful squall line and blast through the Kansas City metro area. Overland Park, Olathe, Lenexa, Shawnee, Kansas City, Kansas, you are all in the direct path. Damaging winds are the primary threat at this point. We could see straight-line gusts approaching 75 miles per hour, which qualifies as hurricane force. That is strong enough to bring down large trees, flip over vehicles, and cause widespread power outages. By midnight, the line should be clearing east and drier air starts filtering in behind the cold front. For western Kansas, Goodland, Colby, Scott City, you are on the cold side of this storm. Some wintry precipitation is possible tonight as cold air wraps in behind the front. Missouri, I need you to listen up carefully because you are right in the crosshairs of this event and the timing works against you in a significant way. The enhanced risk zone covers western Missouri entirely, including Kansas City, St. Joseph, Springfield, Joplin, Branson, Nevada, Sedalia, Warrensburg, and Clinton. The models are consistently showing that your main severe weather arrives during the evening and overnight hours. This makes the event more dangerous, not less, because most people are winding down for the day, visibility is reduced, and response times are slower. From noon through the late afternoon Central Time, scattered thunderstorms may already be ongoing across parts of central and western Missouri. Some of these could produce brief gusty winds or small hail, but the main severe threat holds off until later. Use this time to prepare, charge your devices, review your shelter plan. Make sure everyone in your household knows what to do if a tornado warning is issued after dark. Between 7 and 9 in the evening, the first wave of organized storms pushes into northwestern Missouri. The Kansas City Metro, Liberty, Independence, Blue Springs, Lee S. Summit, you begin seeing the first significant storms during this window. Computer models show rotating updrafts in some of these cells, which means tornado potential is real and present. St. Joseph, Maryville, Chillicothe, you are also in this first wave. Between 10 at night and midnight, the storms intensify and spread across the state. Springfield, Joplin, and the surrounding Ozarks region, you need to be on extremely high alert during this window. Springfield specifically sits within the 10% tornado probability zone. Clustering storms in this area could produce tornadoes, damaging winds exceeding 70 miles per hour and large hail. Branson, West Plains, Rolla, Lebanon, mountain communities throughout the Ozarks, your terrain can make these storms even more unpredictable. Flash flooding is also a significant concern if heavy rain trains over the same areas repeatedly. From midnight to 3 in the morning Saturday, a powerful line of storms sweeps across the entire state from west to east. The low-level jet will be fully cranked up by this time at peak intensity, driving a significant damaging wind threat with this line. Jefferson City, Columbia, Fulton, Mexico, Hannibal, all of you are in the path of this overnight line. St. Louis, St. Charles, Wentzville, O'Fallon, the storms are charging straight for you in this time frame. Gusts of 60 to 75 miles per hour are possible along this line. Trees will come down. Power outages are almost guaranteed. Have flashlights and batteries ready. By sunrise Saturday, the storms should be clearing eastern Missouri and pushing across the Mississippi River into Illinois. Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff, Sikeston, Kennett, your severe weather window is roughly 3 to 6 in the morning Saturday. Set your alarms. Do not sleep through this. Now, here is the section I told you about at the beginning of this video, the part that I believe is the most important piece of this entire forecast. I need to give you the complete timing breakdown for the northern mode of this storm system because the data strongly suggests that the northern storms across Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Illinois, and the Great Lakes could end up being even more dangerous than what happens further south. I know that sounds counterintuitive because the enhanced risk is centered further south over the Ozarks and the southern plains. But the atmospheric dynamics up north are truly exceptional for early March, and here is the scientific explanation for why. The low-level jet across Iowa and the upper Midwest tonight is forecast to reach 60 to 70 knots at the 850 millibar level, roughly 1 mile above the surface. Converting that to miles per hour, we are talking about 70 to 80 miles per hour winds at just 5,000 feet above your head. That amount of low-level wind energy is extraordinary for any time of year, let alone early March. It is the kind of wind shear that drives extreme damaging wind events and can also generate tornadoes within larger clusters of storms, even when discrete supercells are not present. Add in dew points that are already in the upper 50s to low 60s across the region this morning, and you have a volatile atmosphere just waiting to be tapped. Iowa. This is potentially your most significant severe weather event in months. Listen closely. Right now this morning, heavy rain is already falling across large portions of the state from Des Moines up through Waterloo and into northeastern Iowa. All of that rain is happening in a south to north flow pattern, pulling Gulf moisture all the way into the upper Midwest. And here is the thing, this is all rain, no snow, no sleet, all rain in Iowa in early March. That tells you how much warm air is in place right now. Dew points are already in the 50s at 7 in the morning. By this afternoon, they will climb into the low to mid 60s. By evening, dew points could reach the upper 60s across southern Iowa. That is a tropical level of moisture for early March in the Midwest. This morning, rain will clear out by late morning, and you will get a deceptive lull. The sun might even peek through for a bit. Do not let that fool you. Between 4 and 5 in the afternoon Central Time, a new cluster of storms arrives out of Nebraska into southwestern Iowa. Denison, Creston, Council Bluffs, Shenandoah, Red Oak, you need to be on alert starting at 4 in the afternoon. These initial storms could already be producing large hail and gusty winds. By 6 to 7 in the evening, intense thunderstorms are sweeping through central Iowa. Des Moines, Ames, Mason City, Marshalltown, Fort Dodge, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, all of you are in the direct path. These storms will likely be in a cluster mode, meaning multiple storms feeding off each other in a messy but extremely powerful complex. Here is the critical detail that you absolutely need to hear and understand. Embedded tornadoes within this cluster are a real possibility. You may not see a classic isolated supercell sitting by itself on radar. Instead, the tornado could be hidden inside a larger complex of storms, wrapped in rain, invisible to the naked eye. That makes it even more dangerous because your warning time shrinks dramatically. Between 8 and 10 in the evening, the storms reach their peak intensity across northern Iowa. The computer models show an incredibly powerful cell near Decorah in far northeastern Iowa. The radar signature on the model output is genuinely alarming. It looks like a monster storm. Waterloo, Cedar Falls, Dubuque, Decorah, Waverly, Charles City, Mason City. You need to be watching this very carefully tonight. Do not go to bed without your weather alerts activated. By 11 at night to midnight, the storms begin weakening as they push through eastern Iowa and approach the Mississippi River. The Quad Cities, Davenport, Bettendorf, Burlington, Muscatine, Clinton, you catch the tail end of this system between 11 and 1 in the morning. But until the storms have completely passed your location, keep your guard up. Nebraska, here is your breakdown, and this is where that incredible twist happens that I hinted at earlier. For southeastern Nebraska, including Lincoln, Omaha, Bellevue, and Papillion, storms fire between 4 and 5 in the afternoon Central Time. Initial cells develop near Lincoln and track toward the Omaha metro by 6 to 7 in the evening. Grand Island, Hastings, Kearney, you could see storms a bit earlier, around 3 to 4 in the afternoon, but the main severe threat focuses on the eastern third of the state. Now, here is what makes Nebraska's forecast unlike any other state today. While southeastern Nebraska is dealing with potential tornadoes, large hail, and severe thunderstorms, western Nebraska could simultaneously be getting snow, freezing rain, and sleet. Scottsbluff, Alliance, Chadron, North Platte, Valentine, Ogallala. You could see several inches of snow and some ice accumulation from this same storm system. The temperature difference across the state could be 40 degrees or more. Imagine that. 70 degrees and tornado warnings in Omaha. 30 degrees and snow falling in Scottsbluff. Same state, same storm system, same day. That is how dynamic and how extraordinary this weather pattern is. The severe weather threat for eastern Nebraska winds down by 9 to 10 in the evening as the storms push east into Iowa. Lincoln and Omaha, once the line passes through, you are done with the severe threat. Wisconsin, particularly southwestern Wisconsin, you are included in the hatched area for potentially significant severe winds. That means the Storm Prediction Center believes wind gusts could exceed 75 miles per hour in your area tonight. That is hurricane-force wind from thunderstorms. La Crosse, Platteville, Prairie du Chien, Richland Center, you are right in the path of the strongest winds. Storms arrive between 8 and 10 in the evening Central Time. The primary threat is damaging straight-line winds, but an isolated tornado is not out of the question. Milwaukee and Madison have a slight risk, level 2 out of 5, of severe weather. Storms arrive between 10 at night and 1 in the morning. Damaging winds and hail are the main concerns. A marginal tornado risk exists across all of southern Wisconsin tonight. Green Bay, Appleton, Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, your risk is lower, but gusty winds exceeding 50 miles per hour are still possible late tonight into early Saturday morning. Eau Claire, Wausau, Stevens Point, you are on the northern fringe. Some gusty storms possible overnight, but severe risk is minimal for you. Illinois, you have a complicated multi-phase timeline, so pay close attention and make sure you catch all of it. Phase 1 is happening right now this morning. A line of storms is moving through northern Illinois. Rockford, DeKalb, Aurora, Elgin, the northern suburbs of Chicago. These storms are generally sub-severe, but could produce some gusty winds and brief heavy rain as they push through. Phase 2 is a lull. From late morning through early evening, you get a break across most of the state. Enjoy it while it lasts because Phase 3 is the one that matters. Phase 3 arrives late tonight into the overnight hours. Between 10 at night and 2 in the morning Central Time, a complex of intense storms moves into northern Illinois. Rockford gets hit again, this time with much stronger storms. Galesburg, Peoria, Bloomington, Normal, the western and northern Chicago suburbs, including Naperville, Aurora, Elgin, Schaumburg, all need to be on alert. These storms could produce all hazards, including embedded tornadoes, damaging winds exceeding 65 miles per hour, and hail up to 1.5 inches. Chicago proper, the threat is marginal to slight for your area. The storms may weaken somewhat as they push into the metro late tonight into early Saturday morning. But do not dismiss this. Even a marginal risk event can produce dangerous weather. By Saturday morning, the storms spread across central and southern Illinois. Springfield, Champaign, Urbana, Decatur, Bloomington, Normal, Danville, Jacksonville, Quincy, Macomb, you could all be waking up to a nasty line of thunderstorms. Carbondale, Marion, Harrisburg, Mount Vernon, Effingham, and far southern Illinois, your severe weather window runs roughly 6 to 9 Saturday morning with damaging winds the main concern. Indiana, the storms reach your state Saturday morning through the early afternoon. Fort Wayne and the northeast corner catch the leading edge first, roughly 7 to 10 Saturday morning. South Bend, Elkhart, and the Indiana-Michigan border, similar timing. Indianapolis, Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville, Greenwood, the window is roughly 9 in the morning through noon Saturday. Terre Haute, Bloomington, Columbus, storms between 10 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. Evansville, Vincennes, and the southwest corner, roughly 11 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon Saturday. The primary threat statewide is damaging straight-line winds with an isolated tornado possible, especially across the northern half of the state. Michigan, you are on the marginal to slight risk fringe depending on which part of the state you live in. A 2% tornado risk extends all the way to Detroit. Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Lansing, Ann Arbor, Jackson storms push through Saturday morning to early afternoon, roughly 8 in the morning to noon for western Michigan and 9 to 1 for the eastern half. Detroit, Dearborn, Warren, Sterling Heights, your window is roughly 10 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon Saturday. The main threat is gusty winds with the cold front passage. Northern Michigan, Traverse City, Petoskey, Gaylord, and the Upper Peninsula, Marquette, Sault Ste. Marie, you are looking at heavy rain and maybe some wet snow mixing in on the backside of the system. Not a severe threat for you, but messy travel possible. Now, I need to expand this forecast beyond Friday and into Saturday for the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and the Deep South because what happens Saturday impacts an enormous swath of the country. Saturday, a severe weather outlook features two separate slight risk areas, level 2 out of 5. The first covers the Great Lakes region back into northeast Kentucky and the northern Tennessee Valley. The second stretches across central and east Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and into the deep south, Mississippi, and Alabama. A marginal risk connects these two areas together into one continuous zone of potential severe weather stretching from upstate New York all the way down to the Gulf Coast. That is a staggering amount of real estate. Let me give you Saturday city-by-city timing for the Ohio Valley and Northeast. Cleveland, Ohio, storms arrive Saturday morning between 7 and 10. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, storms between 8 and 11 Saturday morning. A brief spin-up tornado possible within the line. Buffalo, New York, storms between 8 and 11 Saturday morning. Rochester, New York, similar timing. Syracuse, New York, storms arrive late morning into early afternoon. Albany, New York, early to mid-afternoon Saturday. Erie, Pennsylvania, storms between 8 and 11. Columbus, Ohio, between 9 and noon. Akron, Canton, Youngstown, between 8 and 11. Toledo, Ohio, between 8 and 11. Dayton, Ohio, between 9 in the morning and noon. Cincinnati, Ohio, between 10 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. Louisville, Kentucky, between 10 and 1. Lexington, Kentucky, between 10 and 1. The primary threats across the entire Ohio Valley Saturday are damaging straight-line winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour and quarter to half dollar-sized hail. A few brief tornadoes are possible, especially from Cleveland through western Pennsylvania and toward Buffalo. For the Tennessee Valley and Mid-South Saturday, Nashville, Tennessee, storms between 11 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Knoxville, Tennessee, between noon and 3. Chattanooga, Tennessee, between 1 and 4 Saturday afternoon. Jackson, Tennessee, between noon and 3. Memphis, Tennessee, early afternoon Saturday, roughly noon to 3. Clarksville, Tennessee, between 11 and 2. For the Deep South, Saturday afternoon and evening, Huntsville, Alabama, storms between 2 and 5 Saturday afternoon. Birmingham, Alabama, between 3 and 6. Tuscaloosa, Alabama, between 4 and 7. Montgomery, Alabama, between 5 and 8 Saturday evening. Mobile, Alabama, between 7 and 10 Saturday evening. Jackson, Mississippi, between 3 and 6 Saturday afternoon. Hattiesburg, Mississippi, between 5 and 8. Meridian, Mississippi, between 4 and 7. Tupelo, Mississippi, between 2 and 5. Shreveport, Louisiana, Saturday afternoon, roughly 1 to 4. Monroe, Louisiana, between 2 and 5. An isolated tornado or two is possible in the Monroe and Memphis areas Saturday. Alexandria, Louisiana, between 3 and 6. Lake Charles, Louisiana, between 5 and 8 Saturday evening. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, storms arrive Saturday night roughly 9 to midnight. New Orleans, Louisiana, late Saturday night roughly 10 to 1 in the morning Sunday. The storms across the Gulf Coast will be weakening but can still produce gusty winds and heavy rain. For Houston, Texas, the storms arrive late Saturday night into early Sunday morning, roughly midnight to 4 in the morning. Gusty winds and heavy rain are the main concerns. Beaumont, Port Arthur, similar timing. By sunrise Sunday morning, the severe weather threat is essentially finished for the entire country. Sunday and Monday bring much calmer weather from coast to coast. Now let me cover a few more cities that I know people are wondering about. Atlanta, Georgia, you are on the southern fringe of Saturday's system. Gusty winds and heavy rain Saturday afternoon into evening, roughly 2 to 7. Severe weather is possible, but not the primary focus for your area. Macon, Georgia, Saturday evening 4 to 8. Augusta, Georgia, Saturday evening to night. Savannah, Georgia, Saturday night 7 to 10. Charlotte, North Carolina, you are mostly on the fringe. Some gusty winds and rain Saturday late afternoon into evening. Raleigh, North Carolina, Saturday evening. Greensboro, Winston-Salem, similar timing. Asheville, North Carolina, Saturday afternoon. The severe risk is low for the Carolinas, but some gusty winds along the cold front are possible. Washington, District of Columbia, a few showers Saturday afternoon and evening. Not expecting significant severe weather. Baltimore, Maryland, similar outlook. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, gusty winds and maybe a rumble of thunder Saturday afternoon, marginal risk at best. Wilmington, Delaware, minor shower activity. Newark, New Jersey, similar to Philadelphia. Boston, Massachusetts, mostly clear from this round. Hartford, Connecticut, Saturday afternoon, a few gusty showers. Providence, Rhode Island, minor activity. Portland, Maine, not expecting significant impacts. Burlington, Vermont, mostly quiet. New York City, a few showers Saturday afternoon. The severe risk is very low for the 5 boroughs, but upstate New York near Buffalo and Rochester has a notably higher risk with the potential for brief tornadoes Saturday morning. Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota, you are on the cold side of this system. Some rain transitioning to a possible mix of rain and snow tonight into Saturday morning. Southern Minnesota, Rochester, Mankato, Austin, you could see some gusty thunderstorms this evening before the precipitation transitions to a wintry mix. No significant tornado threat for Minnesota, but some 50 to 60 mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible along the cold front. Denver, Colorado, winter weather is your story this go-around. Several inches of snow are expected today and tonight. Winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings are in effect across the Front Range and into the foothills. Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Fort Collins, Boulder, you are all in the snow zone. This has been a frustratingly dry winter for Colorado, so hopefully this system delivers a solid snowfall. Models suggest 4 to 8 inches for the Denver metro with locally higher amounts in the foothills. Rapid City, South Dakota, a mix of rain and snow tonight. Accumulations possible in the Black Hills. Pierre, South Dakota, rain changing to snow overnight. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, you sit right on the boundary between severe weather and winter weather. A few storms this evening, followed by rain transitioning to snow and gusty winds overnight. Fargo, North Dakota, cold rain changing to snow tonight. Bismarck, gusty winds and some snow showers. No severe thunderstorm threat for the Dakotas. Salt Lake City, Utah, some mountain snow possible on the backside of the system, but no severe weather for the Wasatch Front. Boise, Idaho, no significant impacts. Billings, Montana, some gusty winds behind the cold front Saturday, but no severe weather. Missoula, quiet. Helena, quiet. Phoenix, Arizona, dry and warm, no impacts. Tucson, same. Las Vegas, Nevada, no impacts. Albuquerque, New Mexico, dry and breezy. El Paso, Texas, no severe weather. Midland and Odessa, Texas, mostly dry. Lubbock, Texas, a few storms possible late this afternoon, but a lower-end severe risk. Amarillo, Texas, a few storms this afternoon with small hail possible. San Antonio, Texas, you are on the periphery. Minor storm potential this evening. Corpus Christi, mostly clear. Laredo, no impacts. Brownsville, no impacts. All West Coast cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, Sacramento, Fresno, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Spokane. None of you are impacted by this storm system. Jacksonville, Florida, mostly clear. Tampa, no impacts. Orlando, no impacts. Miami, no impacts. Tallahassee, Florida, Saturday night, a weakening line of storms passes through with gusty winds possible. Pensacola, Florida, Saturday evening, 7 to 10, gusty storms with some wind damage potential. Now here is the section I have been building up to, the part that genuinely shocked me when I first analyzed the data. And if you are planning any outdoor work, gardening, or travel over the next 2 weeks, you need to hear every word of this. After this weekend, severe weather finally clears Sunday morning, you get a 2-day break. Sunday and Monday are calm. But then the conveyor belt of storms starts right back up again. Tuesday, the Storm Prediction Center already has a slight risk up, and we are still 5 days away from it. That level of confidence this far in advance is notable. The risk area covers Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Illinois. 15% probability of severe weather at day 5. We are talking damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes all over again, hitting many of the same areas that get hammered this weekend. Wednesday, a new slight risk shifts the threat to Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, a small section of Oklahoma, and Mississippi. Thursday, the storm pushes into the southeast with more severe weather potential. That means we could see 4 separate days of severe thunderstorms within one single week. 4 days in early March. That is almost unprecedented. But the real plot twist, the thing that could affect literally everyone east of the Mississippi River, comes around the middle of March. Right now, temperatures across the eastern half of the country are running 15 to 25 degrees above average for this time of year. It feels like late April in many locations. Next Monday, some models show temperatures surging to 30 degrees above normal in parts of the Midwest and Ohio Valley. That is extraordinary warmth. People are putting away their winter coats. Gardeners are itching to plant. Trees are budding. It feels like winter is completely over, but it is not. Around March 16th, 17th, and 18th, roughly 10 days from now, the computer models are showing a dramatic pattern reversal. A massive trough drops into the eastern United States while a ridge builds over the west. That configuration pulls Arctic air straight south out of Canada and into the heart of the country. Temperatures could crash 20 to 30 degrees in just 48 hours. Areas that were enjoying 70s and 80s could suddenly be dealing with 30s, 40s, or even lower. Frost, freeze warnings, maybe even snow. For my winter weather enthusiasts who have been disappointed all season, here is your glimmer of hope. The 15-day snowfall signal shows legitimate accumulating snow potential across the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Northern Plains, Central Appalachians, and even parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. There is a model signal for a winter storm developing around 10 days from now across the Central Appalachians that could ride up the coast as a classic nor'easter. The signal extends all the way into the higher elevations of North Carolina. If this verifies, cities like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, Boston, and even portions of the Washington to New York corridor could see meaningful snowfall in the middle of March. I am absolutely not making a specific snowfall forecast this far out. The details will change multiple times between now and then, but the pattern signal is there and it is worth watching very closely. For everyone in the South who has been enjoying this warm weather, here is my advice, and please take it seriously. Do not plant your gardens yet. I know it is tempting. I know the local garden centers are stocked and the soil feels warm, but a hard freeze returning in mid to late March could devastate early plantings. Wait until we get past this pattern change before you put anything in the ground. One night of 28-degree temperatures will kill your tomato plants, your peppers, your herbs, everything. Give it another 2 to 3 weeks to be safe. Let me pull the entire forecast together one final time so you have a clear picture you can reference. Today, Friday. Enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5 from southern Iowa through the Red River Valley of North Texas. Strong tornadoes possible, EF2 or higher. Hail up to 2 inches in diameter. Winds to 75 miles per hour. Peak tornado threat roughly 6 in the evening to 11 at night. Most dangerous areas include eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, central Kansas, western Missouri, and Iowa. Saturday, widespread storms from the Great Lakes to the Gulf Coast. 2 slight risk areas. Damaging straight-line winds are the primary threat. Quarter to half-dollar-sized hail widespread. Isolated tornadoes possible in the Ohio Valley and Deep South. All storms clear by early Sunday morning, Sunday and Monday. Quiet. Use this time to prepare for the next round. Tuesday. Another severe weather threat across the southern plains and Midwest. Damaging winds, large hail, tornadoes. Wednesday. Threat shifts to the Deep South. Thursday. Southeast gets hit, middle of March, major pattern change, Arctic air returns, potential winter storm for the eastern United States, possible freeze across the south. Do not plant your gardens. Now I need something from you before you go. First, if your city was not mentioned in this forecast, comment below right now with your location. I mean it. I read every single comment and I will make sure you get the detailed information you need. Your safety matters, and I do not want anyone going into tonight's storms without knowing what to expect. Second, if you found this forecast helpful, please hit the like button. I know everyone says that, but here is why it actually matters today. When severe weather is happening, the algorithm determines who sees this video and who does not. Every comment, every share pushes this information out to more people who might be in the path of these storms tonight and did not even know it. You could literally help save someone's life just by tapping that button. Third, subscribe if you have not already. We are going to be covering severe weather nonstop for the next several days, and you do not want to miss the updates, especially Tuesday's event, which could rival what we are seeing today. Now, here is what is coming in the next video, and you are going to want to see this. I will have the very latest model runs for Tuesday's severe weather threat, including a full city-by-city breakdown with exact timing for every affected area. I will also have the first in-depth look at that potential pattern change and winter storm around March 16th through 18th. I have already seen some ensemble model runs that would make every winter weather fan in the Northeast lose their mind. Significant snow signals from Pittsburgh to Boston. Whether it actually materializes is another question entirely, but the raw data is eye-opening and it deserves a deep dive. Do not miss that video. For tonight, here is what I need you to do before you go to sleep, and I am serious about every single one of these steps. First, charge your phone to 100%. You need your phone for weather alerts overnight, and you cannot afford a dead battery. Second, turn your ringer volume all the way up. Do not put your phone on silent or do not disturb tonight. Third, identify the safest room in your home right now before you need it. Lowest floor, interior room, away from all windows. A bathroom, closet, or hallway in the center of your home on the ground floor is ideal. If you have a basement, even better. Get there immediately if a tornado warning is issued for your area. Fourth, if you live in a mobile home, a manufactured home, or an RV, and you are anywhere in the risk zone tonight, please identify a nearby sturdy structure where you can take shelter. A neighbor's basement, a community storm shelter, a concrete block building. Mobile homes provide virtually zero protection against a tornado, and tonight's threat includes strong tornadoes forming in complete darkness. Please have a plan. And fifth, this is the one that could genuinely save a life tonight. Check on your neighbors, right now, before the storms arrive. Call the elderly couple down the street, knock on the door of the single parent next door, make sure the family across the road who just moved in knows that severe weather is heading their way and has a way to receive warnings. One phone call tonight, one knock on a door. That is all it takes, and it could be the difference between someone getting to shelter in time or not. Last night in Oklahoma, 2 people died from a tornado that most models said would not happen and that most people were not prepared for. Tonight's setup has even more energy, more wind shear, and more potential for strong tornadoes after dark. Take care of each other out there tonight. Stay weather aware. Keep your alerts on. Have your plan ready. And I will be right here monitoring every single storm that fires from now through the overnight hours. I will have a full recap of everything that happened, plus an updated forecast for the days ahead in my very next video. Before I go, let me also address a few important questions I know many of you are already thinking about based on the comments I have been reading on recent videos. For those of you asking about school closures and whether your kids should stay home tomorrow, that is obviously a personal decision for each family, but here's what I will say. Saturday morning storms across Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and Illinois could disrupt travel and outdoor school activities. If your school district is in the slight risk zone or higher for Saturday, check with your district tonight for any schedule changes. Many districts in the Midwest have protocols for severe weather days, and some may delay or cancel Saturday extracurricular events, sporting events, and outdoor activities. For those of you who work overnight shifts tonight in the enhanced risk zone, and I am talking to you, Kansas City, Springfield, Joplin, Des Moines, Omaha, Lincoln, Tulsa, please make sure your workplace has a designated storm shelter area. Know where it is before your shift starts. Do not wait until the tornado warning siren sounds to start figuring out where to go. If you have to drive to work tonight, keep an eye on conditions and have your weather application open on your phone. Some of the most dangerous tornado situations happen to people caught in vehicles on highways and back roads at night when visibility is zero and there is nowhere to shelter. For farmers and ranchers across Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa, and Texas, I know severe weather is part of life for you, but tonight deserves extra preparation. Secure your livestock if you can. Make sure barn doors are latched and secured. Move animals away from large trees and metal structures if possible. 2-inch diameter hail will absolutely injure cattle and horses left in open pastures. If you have the ability to shelter your animals in a barn or enclosed structure tonight, this is the night to do it. Also, make sure your irrigation equipment, tractors, and any other machinery is secured or moved away from areas prone to wind damage. For those of you with pets, bring them inside tonight. I know that seems obvious, but every single severe weather event I cover, I hear heartbreaking stories of dogs and cats left in outdoor kennels or tied on chains during tornado warnings. Your pets cannot open a door. They cannot get themselves to shelter. They are depending on you. Bring them inside before the storms arrive. And for the RV parks, campground communities, and manufactured housing communities across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, and Illinois, please take proactive steps this evening before the storms arrive. Most RV parks and mobile home communities have designated community buildings or storm shelters. Know where yours is. Walk there now so you know exactly how long it takes and which route to use. If your park does not have a shelter, Identify the nearest sturdy, permanent structure, whether that is a gas station, a restaurant, a fire station, or a neighbor's house, and be ready to drive or walk there quickly if a tornado warning is issued for your county. One more thing before I go. For all of you in the western states who are watching from a distance and wondering if I have forgotten about you, I have not. Denver, I covered your snow forecast earlier. You should be getting a solid 4 to 8 inches in the metro with higher amounts in the foothills and mountains. Colorado Springs, you are getting snow too, potentially 6 to 10 inches depending on elevation. Fort Collins, Boulder, Greeley, similar amounts. Pueblo could see 3 to 5 inches. Cheyenne, Wyoming, some snow and gusty winds tonight as well, 3 to 6 inches possible. The ski resorts across Colorado and Utah should see some fresh powder from this system, and if you are planning a ski trip this weekend, conditions could actually be quite nice by Saturday afternoon once the snow tapers off and the sun comes out. For the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland, Spokane, while this massive storm system does not directly affect you, I am watching a separate disturbance that could bring periods of rain and mountain snow to Washington and Oregon early next week. I will cover that in detail in an upcoming forecast. And for those of you watching from outside the continental United States, Hawaii is looking at typical trade wind showers this weekend, nothing out of the ordinary. Alaska has some cold temperatures and wind chills as you would expect for March, but no significant storm systems to worry about. All right, that truly is everything for this forecast. I have covered more than 270 cities and locations across the entire country. I gave you hour-by-hour timing for every state in the risk zone. I showed you what is coming next week with another potential multi-day severe weather outbreak. And I revealed the potential winter weather pattern change in mid-March that could bring snow, ice, and freezing temperatures back to the eastern half of the country right when everyone thinks winter is finished. If you made it all the way to the end of this forecast, I genuinely appreciate you. You are the reason I put in the hours to create these detailed breakdowns. Keeping people informed and keeping people safe is the entire point. Every comment you leave, every like you give, every time you share this video with a friend or family member in the risk area, you are helping someone prepare for what is coming. And that matters. Stay safe out there tonight, America. Comment your city below so I know where